Today I welcome Amaury Perrier to a Marketeers Adventures podcast. Amaury has been working in digital marketing and the startup ecosystem for the past 9+ years. He's a head of marketing at Current, a freelancing fractional CMO, and the founder of the Nordic Marketeers Hub community. I would like to start with asking you, what is your story? What adventures have brought you to where you are now in your professional life?
Yeah, so as you very well summarized. So basically, if I start from the beginning, so I have actually got a master in entrepreneurship, so something slightly a bit different, but which has kind of it drives me towards the startup slash scale up ecosystem, because this is really where I wanted to be in this tech environment and super like fast techy and fast environment. So that's really one thing that kind of set my path today. So, and why marketing? Also, like I studied marketing, and this was basically one of my favorite things to do. So I got the chance actually to start as a head of marketing, not head of marketing manager, I would say, for a company, an agency that was specialized in hiring tech profiles. So I started my journey there in France, and I was the first employee. So I learned, kind of everything by myself at the time. So I had actually one positive thing is that I had all the time to learn, fail, and do it all over again till it was a success. I had the kind of the luxury to get time, so it was a very good thing for me. Didn't have anyone to tell me what to do, so it was my own experiments that kind of told me if I was right or wrong. So for me, it was kind of set the tone a bit of my marketing career, if I can say. And then I have basically like moved to Norway a couple of years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and I have landed as head of marketing for a construction company that was also operated as a SaaS company. So if I can relate, basically, like my last two experiences in Norway for the last two companies I've been working, head of marketing for SaaS companies, two different sectors: construction on one side and EV charging on the other side. But what is connecting, I would say, all the dots and all my experiences is that I've been the first employee all the time. So I was structuring the marketing department, and then I've was also in charge of scaling the marketing department. So hiring more people, more resources to structure properly and grow the marketing department. So that's what a bit kind of I've been doing. And today, actually, I'm actually working solely as a consultant. So I'm helping small and medium companies, especially startups, and scale up to that have some specific need in order either for more on a strategic level or also on a more operational level. So I'm actually, this is currently what I'm doing. So I'm 100% a consultant today. And on top of that, as you mentioned in the introduction, I've also created this group, this Slack community that gathers marketers in the Nordics. That's where we actually met, and so the goal here is kind of just to make a place to create a community that gathers professionals in our field, so people can share experiences, get some feedback, network, kind of do a lot of different things at the same time. On top of that, we actually made the first physical event in Oslo just before summer. So it was a lot of things are happening, I would say, and this is really cool. I would say right now we are nearly at 300 members, and it keeps growing. So it's super exciting actually to see that.
Yes, thank you for creating that community. You've been talking a lot about fractional CMO.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean by consultant? And
exactly.
What is it exactly?
Exactly. So I would say it's, if I may say, it's kind of a buzzword. It's more like I would say, operating as a CMO, as a service, like exactly as a consultant. It's just a different name, I would say. It just means that you can, as head of marketing or CMO, you operate for multiple, companies at the same time. So you're a consultant, but with a different, title. And it's kind of like if you want a similar analogy, it's like growth hacking. Nobody speaks about growth hacking anymore. Now it's more like growth marketing, because people didn't really know what was growth hacking. So now it's more like, okay, this is marketing, and then you apply growth to it. So terms and naming kind of evolve, but yeah, it's just a different name.
So starting as the first employee in a company is quite tough, I would say. What advice would you have to someone getting into that position?
I think it can be quite scary, depending if it's your first experience as a first employee or not. But one thing that is extremely important, especially when you're the first person, is you need to be extremely structured. You need to have, you need to like operate with a lot of methodology in everything you do. Otherwise, because it's very hard to prioritize, different things. So I would say, I would say that my first experience was a very good thing, because I had the time to fail, to understand a lot of things by myself. So for the further experiences that I got, then I was able, okay, this is something that I definitely should not do, or this is something that I should do differently. And then just, you just improving by doing, if I may say. And I think this is kind of, for me, if you have the time, this is great. But reality is that first, when you arrive as a first employee, if I have to say something about it, I think first you need to do kind of an audit on everything that has been done previously, because usually, especially the marketing person, a lot of the work that has been done by that person is usually outsourced to an agency, or like to some freelancers. So usually when you're the first employee, you kind of inherit, or you have the legacy of all the past things that have been done with agency and everything. So you need to sit down, have a lot of talks with, the agencies or the former freelancers, also the people in the company the CEO specifically, that can guide you and say, okay, this is why we made these decisions. So you have a bit the background, and then you can say, okay, at that time they were focusing more on this, on that, this explained the result on that, and so on. So once you have been running a bit the audits, and you have been a bit talking, you have kind of analyzed the whole situation, you can start to like, set the priorities in sync with the CEO. What are the different goals? You just basically you just follow that. It's like the KPIs, the goals. First quarter, second quarter, like semester, year. What do we want to achieve at the end of the year? How can the marketing help the company to achieve this? And then you structure, I would say, little by little, the different bricks. And then it's a matter of priority. Should we focus more on the sales? Should we focus more on the brand awareness? And according to the goals that you set, then the strategy, the channel, the tactics, everything is going to be, planned, accordingly. So I would say it's all about, a lot to do with structure and methodology when you're the first the person.
So if you were to teach marketing to someone who doesn't know anything, what would be the first thing you would teach them?
It's extremely hard, I would say. It's very hard because I think marketing is a very noble thing because it is a bit there is a contrast, especially in marketing, because this is kind of seen as I would say not as a core like department in the company, because you don't produce like you don't it's except in certain cases in marketing, with digital marketing and so on, with product-led growth and so on, but different strategies. But usually the sales team is in charge of, you know, bringing the revenue. The product is in charge of building the features, making the product nice. And you have the you know, the customer success department that are, you know, also like here to cuddle a bit the customers, make them happy. And the marketing is kind of on the side, but it's super central because it's connected with every department. So so it's usually one of the department that you fill in the last when you're a small company like a startup. You usually have sales, customer success, you have product people, tech people, and then once the team is kind of set up, then you add marketing on top, because you need to make people make it shiny, and you know, to make this whole thing look much better. So yeah, it's, if I have to describe it, this is probably the how I would put marketing, you know. I would say that marketing is, but it's kind of this always have this dual aspect. On one side it's like, yeah, it's not in the core, but it's so central because it's, you know, interconnected with all the departments.
Yeah. There is a difference when it comes to B2C and B2B, I guess.
Yeah. Exactly. And this is something I should mention also, is that I have mostly and nearly entirely worked with B2B marketing. So in my first company, it was B2B and B2C at the same time, but I really gained I would say expertise in B2B, especially with SaaS. So exactly what you mentioned, there are some differences. Exactly.
It sounds like you have a few projects going at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have the consulting work and the community management and organizing events for the community. So how do you integrate that into your life? How do you optimize your daily processes to make all this happen?
Yeah, on top of that, two small kids.
Yes, and two kids.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a lot. It has a lot to do with organization. I mean, you cannot do anything like this without a solid organization. And then the consulting thing is also it gives you a bit freedom, right? You can kind of build your schedule as you want. So it's not like I would say you can sometimes work during the evenings or during on the weekends. I mean, it's kind of flexible. It's up to you. So on the other side, if you have more like, I would say, a regular job, when it's like you do your hours and it's like 5 days per week, and I would say it's maybe a bit different. But yeah, this flexibility can make me adjust things. And with the community, I'm doing a bit of I'm doing the community management, organizing the events. I'm also we are two with also Stefan to manage this, but I try to automate tasks as much as possible. Meaning for consulting, but also for the the community. I'm trying to plan things ahead, or okay, maybe the community, we should maybe, I would say, I'm trying to build up some planning, especially for the community. If I need to integrate some poll, to make people react on certain topic, or trying to plan also the acquisition. Okay, how do we get new members? So should we tackle maybe referral, or maybe send some messages through LinkedIn, or try to automate as much as possible, so then I can focus on the things that bring the most value. So that's basically how I try to do things.
Cool. Okay, let's see. Let's talk a bit about collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, in the places where I've worked, processes were really slow. We had many meetings for things to actually happen, and communication between departments was not great. Sometimes there was even a difference in goals, which kind of led to internal competition. So many meetings without an outcome, frustratingly slow processes, and misalignment between departments, even within marketing. I could easily think that it's normal, but it just felt like it was wrong. So how have you experienced collaboration at work?
Trust me, I mean, I've mostly worked in, I would say, in small and medium companies, right? Startup/scale up. So cannot really tell you about how it is in the very, very large entities, where processes are extremely slow. And that's also one of the reasons why I really just only wants to work with smaller companies, where you can decide very fast, and you can act super fast as well. But I would say this is a permanent chaos, and collaboration, and this is a permanent work that you have to do, and you have obviously more responsibilities if you're head of the department, but it's not only in your company. I would say it's in every company. Then obviously people have different way to tackle that issue, but the way, I can tell you, for example, the way I've seen it, and the way I've decided to put that in place in my last job. So it was a smaller company, right? So 20-ish people, so small, but still at that scale, even at that scale, you see misalignments, problem of communication, because people have so many things to do, that they focus mostly and solely on their goals. Every company, in every company, like CS, they have their own KPIs, marketing have their own KPIs, sales have their own KPIs, product as well. And what you just mentioned, how you basically align, everybody. So we had something called the OKRs. So I think that you're quite familiar with it. So we had actually some OKRs per department, but also we have OKR for the entire company. So basically, the entire company had one common goal. So everybody has their way to contribute to this goal. So that's one thing. Basically, make people have a shared and common goal. That's one thing. Second is, you really need to, especially as a marketing person, you need to be in the center of everything. You need to know what's happening on the product side. You need to be in touch with the sales people, because they are on the field. They have the feedback straight away from, you have the feedback straight away from the customers or the prospects. And this is extremely important, because usually as a marketing person, you don't have interactions, a direct interaction with customers, except if you do some events or webinars or this kind of stuff. But this is not your daily life, right? So it's super important that you get this feedback from the field, from the sales team, and also from the customer success, because they talk to users, customers every day. So this is the way I actually seen it and tackle it is that we have actually in the company decided to set up meetings, weekly meetings with the head of sales, customer success, and product. And basically we say, okay, every week we have kind of a small roadmap to say, okay, what are the topics that are important for you? What are you planning to do this week? And then you exchange a lot. So for the product, it's a matter of to know the roadmap. Okay, what features are you planning to release? When what is in A/B testing? What is in production? When do you plan to release the final version of this feature? How can we communicate that? Should we just communicate to our users, to everybody, and so on and so on? So you need to plan a lot, especially with the product. And with the sales and the CS, it's a lot of you need to have constant exchanges, because they feed you with the CS. They're going to say, hey, we see that this feature is very, very valuable to our customers. So then maybe make some articles of things that really emphasize it, so people can actually be fed with content, or they also give you access to the customers, so you can build your case studies and emphasize what has really worked and the success, this is successful partnerships. And with the sales, it's do you need any material, landing pages that can basically help you to convert more, or some material that you would like to use in sales calls that could actually help you to have a good story, and so on and so on. It's constant, I would say, talks with everybody, and that's how we approach it in my last company, and I think it was actually working well. But we had some issues in the beginning, the same as you mentioned. Everybody was kind of working on their side, and then we see, okay, there are some issues there. How can we improve collaboration between the department? And then we took 1 day or 2 days workshop. Then we start to think, and then we have implemented a plan, and then it has resulted in some action, and then we saw that collaboration was much better after that.
Yeah, my experience with OKRs was a bit funny. If you know how to do it, it's great. But we tried it in the company for the first time, the last one I was working at, and I mean, maybe 1 or 2 people knew how to do this. So we ended up having very detailed goals for each department. And even then, even though we had one goal for the whole company, there was still some competition between the goals. I mean, maybe the second time that they will do it, it will be better, hopefully. But it was chaos, and it took maybe a couple of months to finalize the whole thing.
Yeah, but and reality is that everyone is doing things differently. Every company is doing things differently. There is not. It's very. You don't have a right or wrong answer here. It's more like, okay, how's the company? Who are the people in the company? How can we make it fit or work for everybody? And can it produce good results? And that's the thing, right? Because you have on one side the theory that you read in all the books and online. The reality is that, okay, if you want to apply it by the you want to apply it by the book or like completely make it perfect, you're gonna waste a lot of time. You will, especially when no one has done it before. So meaning that someone, it's easier when you have actually someone that has done it before, because that person takes the responsibility of implementing it and knows, you know, already the pitfalls and what to avoid and how to guide and lead the thing. But when you have no one that is accountable for implementing it, then you're just ending up in total chaos, as you mentioned.
Yep. Yeah. Have you seen competition between product and marketing? Because in my experience, when marketing is trying to get involved, product is becoming defensive. Maybe it comes
I mean,
to
it personally, not a competition. I would say I don't see it as a competition. In my own experiences, I've not
it
noticed it.
shouldn't be. It's not.
No, 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 because it's two different worlds, right? And as long as people understand that marketing is not here to like replace or like take take anything from them, but marketing is just here to emphasize the work of everybody else and, you know, make it shiny. I think if people understand that, then there is no issue at all. I think the only issue that you can have, you know, with the different departments is collaboration, as we just talked about, and that can be, you know, it's very very hard because you are touching to like also not only you know, you're touching to the human aspect, so you have relationship between people, so it's not only professional but there is also human. So it's, so when you have this, it can be a bit more complicated to work with certain people rather than others. But yeah, but that's part of the game. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so from what I understand, you were the first employee in the companies, but were you the one that set up the marketing infrastructure, or was it in place
Yeah.
already?
Um, usually there, usually there was a little thing, little stack or little bit of stack, I have to say, because you have most of the time companies that I've been working with, they were having already, they have been collaborating, had collaborated with some agencies before. So obviously the agencies, you know, try to influence a bit, or we are working with these tools, so you should also work with these tools. So it's usually the way it goes. But yeah, since, so I had to deal a bit with that, but every time, like I said, I applied the same kind of methodology. I was doing an audit, and then I was kind of, okay, what do we need? What's the roadmap, you know, for marketing? What is the priority? Do we need to build like a content machine, strong content machine? At what period? You know, which quarter? Do we have a CRM? Which CRM should we use? And so on and so on. You have to also see what type of stack the company has, and the resources also. It's also one thing, because you also in your past experiences, you're used to work with certain tool. Maybe the company that you're getting in works with the competitor or something that you have never been working with. So it's kind of what is the flexibility that you have when you arrive in a company. Is the CEO tells you, right, you're the responsible of marketing, so we listen to you. If you need this, then we will make the change. Or is it more like, okay, we are a bit tight with the budget, so this year we have to stick to this tool, and then you will have a bit more flexibility next year to do whatever you want. Yeah, it can happen with both. Usually it's more like you're more stuck with the CMS, because it implies a lot of changes, and and this is usually not the priority when you arrive. Yeah, you can change your website, but change the look, the design, the branding, everything takes a lot of time. And by experience, it takes much more time than it used on the paper. It involves a lot of people are actually involved, and which impacts the delivery of the website and so on. So this is definitely, you have to see what you can change or not. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of flexibility since the start. So I have been able to kind of build my own marketing stack most of the time.
Cool. Yeah, the biggest challenge that I've seen is small companies that start with whatever tool they know, I guess, and then they grow fast, and that tool is not enough anymore. So then they have to kind of change, and that takes a lot of resources. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, by experience, the thing that is very, there are two things, right? They are kind of hard to change, that are kind of central for me. So I mentioned the CMS. Even if it's very important for marketing, because having the possibility to change directly on the website whatever you want to increase the conversion, or whatever you want to do with the messaging or the design, it's important, right, that you feel comfortable with that. It's a big aspect of marketing. But the second for me, which is super important, is the CRM. Having a CRM that is already implemented or that you have to choose is crucial, because this is, as a marketer, you can centralize everything in there. You can centralize, if I give you just the example of HubSpot, you can even build your website on HubSpot. You can create landing pages, you can run the campaigns, the ad campaign through HubSpot. You can build automations, with nurturing. You can build a lot of different things through HubSpot, and I think this is actually very important. I think, to me, the rest is quite easy to change. It's kind of accessory, but these two items are for me the first thing that you check on your list, basically.
Any other favorite marketing tools?
I have a list, actually, quite a list, but I have some tools that I'm really keen. As I mentioned, for me, HubSpot is more a marketing, a CRM marketing tools than Salesforce. Usually there is this kind of battle between sales and marketing. Sales tend to prefer more Salesforce, whereas marketing is much more in favor of HubSpot. So then you have to
Sometimes they have both.
Sometimes they have, yeah, sometimes they have both.
That's chaos.
So the integration and everything needs to be properly done, yeah, because I think it's important to keep the less tools you have, the better it is, because then that's kind of my motto, right? Because it's great. You will always see like the latest tools that are especially now incorporated with AI, that will do this or do that. So you see the value for a small task, but then you need to think about the incorporation with the entire marketing team. Is it going to save you a lot of time? Is it going to save you money? Is it going to help you generating revenue? And how is it integrated on top of that with the stack that you have already built? One of the first thing I look at, it's especially, I love HubSpot, right? So I'm really a big fan of HubSpot. So how easy it is to integrate it with either HubSpot, so the CRM, or your website, the CMS that you have chosen. On the CMS, I really like Webflow, because it's so convenient to create, you know, landing pages and website with their program, and it integrates extremely well with Figma. And Figma basically is a software that enables your designer, graphic UX designer, to build and create everything in that tool. And then with Figma, you have a strong integration with Webflow, so you can actually, you don't need a developer that can actually integrate, you know, the design to the website. It can be done straight away with so if you are not really a techie and you don't have so many knowledge, you know, in front end, that's actually a good kind of a good solution for me. But no, right now I would say among my top lists, I would say Notion. Love Notion. This is basically where I store all the information, guides. This is where you, yeah, all the experiments that you are like you're doing. Basically, everything is stored in Notion. I use a lot also Trello and Miro for project management. So for me, it's also very important. It's tools that I use on maybe a daily basis. I would not surprise you, but ChatGPT, I think nowadays it has become quite a lifesaver for marketers, not only, but for us, it's I would say it's quite convenient, very very nice when it comes to save some times on very small tasks, but that actually are a bit boring tasks. So it's actually quite nice to have this tool right now. And on top of that, I'm using two tools. I would say it's a combination of three tools. We're maybe gonna talk about it later, but I'm a very very big fan of ABM. So account-based marketing. This is something that is very very used and very popular among the B2B and SaaS companies. So I use basically HubSpot to centralize, you know, all the contacts. I use a tool, so the tool LinkedIn Sales Navigator, to build up the prospect list. And I use one tool called La Growth Machine. Sorry for my accent. It's a French tool, and basically it helps you to enrich the data on the prospect. So finding the right email, the professional email addresses, phone numbers, and then you can automate a lot of tasks like sending emails campaign or like cold emailing. And then these three tools works very well together. So yeah, and on top of that, last, if I have to mention a couple of tools, all the tools that can save you sometimes by automating small tasks like Zapier, Phantom Buster, or Make.
Thanks for the tips.
I hope it's valuable. Yeah, I don't know if you have been using some of the tools that I mentioned, but it's I
Yes.
love them.
I haven't used a CDP yet, so I have used HubSpot in one company, and I was hoping that I would use Bloomreach in my last job, but it didn't happen because there were layoffs and I was impacted. Too bad.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of a rough time right now for marketing people, but in the tech, I would say in general.
Yeah. Personally, I don't mind at all because now I have time to kind of go after my interests and try different things. But yeah, it's a tough time for employees. Let me ask you, what do you find the most fulfilling in your work?
The most
fulfilling? What do you like the most?
Ah, a good question. Uh, there are, there is, I think it's a bit, it's very connected to the type of companies that I've been working with, right? I actually really like to be challenged, to be stimulated intellectually by the lot of different things that happen in the company, and this is something that is definitely happening a lot in a startup, a small company where you have tons. You always have something to do. You always have something that is coming up, or even if it doesn't concern like just marketing, you can also help other departments. It's always something to do, and that's I found it working a bit in this chaos environment and managing to survive in some certain way to make it work and to see the results. I think, if I may say, it's really multitask at some point, have multiple projects at the same time, and on top of that, being able to see the result quite quickly, which is something that you don't necessarily will see in a very large companies because, as you mentioned, processes are super slow, a lot of people involved, a lot of meetings, a lot of decision makers, and so on, so on. So that's what I really like about working as a marketing person, especially in smaller companies.
And what is your biggest challenge?
Ah. um, my biggest challenge. I have. I don't think I have one challenge in particular. I think you have.
Doesn't have to be one.
Yeah,
Go for
oh,
it.
yes. No, I think it's a lot. It's very, especially as a marketer in smaller companies, you do everything in the beginning, right? You need to do the strategy, you need to do the operational stuff, you need to hire people, you need to make sure that everybody in your team is like synced, work well together. So it's not just results. I would say at some point where you hire people, also it's how you build the team and how you make people work in order to achieve, a common goal. So there is a human, I would say, challenge, and it's also how you collaborate, because we're getting back to this a bit. But collaboration inside a company, any kind of company, is an enormous challenge. Like we said, because everybody as can see you cannot just see through the through your own eyes with just solely your KPIs, but you need to have to look at the bigger picture. And unfortunately, sometimes you have people that think differently. So it's also the collaboration is, it's a matter of also dynamics, and you need to understand how everything is working in a company in order to adapt and make things, go in one way rather than another. So it's also a very, very big challenge in companies. And I would say lastly, um, execution is the key, especially in smaller company. You need to go fast, and that means that you need to implement a lot of processes to make things like to make things go smoother, and you don't need to ask questions to wonder if how to do it. Everything needs to be kind of planned ahead, and kind of it must be structured if you want to be able to go very fast. And the execution, yeah, is key, and everything is tied to also execution, the collaboration between people, collaboration in your team, how and how you're gonna you make the people perform together, and go far as much as possible.
one question that came up when you were talking about fast execution.
Mhm.
Is there a space for new ideas in there, or is it just doing what?
No, always. No,
How do you find that
I
balance?
think it's very hard, but I would say, especially in terms of budget, when you budget things, I give you this example with budget and time, right? Because this is how you can measure it. But when you set up your budget for, let's say, for the next quarter, and you say, okay, this is the goal that we need to reach at the end of the quarter. What do we intend to do to reach, what actions are we going to do to reach that goal? And then you discuss with your team, you discuss also with other teams what can be done. If other teams, like let's say the sales or the product, need to be involved in any kind of way. And then you need to set up like your budget. Okay, do we intend to like make a webinar or like to make an event, or are we going to run some ABM campaigns using LinkedIn ads, whatever? And then you have a rough idea of what you're going to spend. You should always leave, I would say, 20%, 25% of your budget at least, so you have space for new ideas or things that you want to test. This is super important. So for the budget part, but also it works with the the time, but meaning that you need to have a workshop, a session with your team. Okay, what can we do to increase, I don't know, the number of opportunities? What can we do to generate more brand awareness, and so on and so on. And then you run a couple of ideas, and then you say, okay, you list the different ideas, and then you kind of rank them by what is the most likely, what is the most likely idea that's going to work. What is the easiest or the easiest way to implement it, because you will have some stuff that will take more time than others. So then you figure this out, with the framework. You have the ICE framework that you can use to kind of prioritize that. And then obviously you run a couple of new campaigns, or like you test some new hypotheses, new ideas. That's a bit how I would approach things.
Let's go a bit into the future now.
Yeah.
How do you see the future of marketing evolving over the next decade, and what trends or technologies do you think marketers should be aware of?
So I cannot predict the future, fortunately.
Yeah, your opinion.
But just from what I'm seeing right now with AI, I see that, I mean, mastering AI, the way that you write prompts, especially on ChatGPT, small things are like getting really crucial, right? And I think that for a lot of tasks is kind of repetitive, and that can be automated. That's where that involves like kind of writing. Tomorrow you will not even need to write an email. You just write a prompt in ChatGPT, and you say, okay, it takes you like 1 minute to write a prompt. Whereas when you write an email, some people might spend more time thinking, okay, how should I turn things? How should I say? What did I forget? Anything? Whereas if you know things, you know how to write a proper prompt. It's done in 1 minute, copy paste, or you just rework a bit on things that you don't like, or the tone or whatever, and then you're good to go. So I mean, everything that's can be automated, like written things. I think this is gonna be And I already see it now, right? I'm trying to save as much time as possible with AI. I think everybody is a bit lazy, and if you can allocate the time to the most valuable task, that's what you should do. And then you have a lot of things that you will not be able necessarily to change. Everything that kind of involves creativity. If you look at how the design that ChatGPT, if you write a prompt and you ask make me a design or a picture of this for my next webinar, and I want this information, this information, you will not be satisfied. I can ensure that at 100%, because right now this is really not ready. So
Not yet.
maybe exactly. Maybe in 10 years, who knows? I guess that they will do so much, progress in the next couple of years. But right now, everything is progressing. Like it's crazy. Even with the voice, I have actually I have to talk about this tool because it was amazing me. It's called Agen. And what it does is basically you record your voice, you record yourself in a video for, like, you have to kind of talk about they make you read kind of a story to create an avatar of yourself with your the way you talk. So they record your voice, they record a video of you, how you present yourself, and then you can basically reproduce that and talk in any language. So you don't even need to hire people from abroad. So let's say you're customer success and you want to make a video to explain something, a feature, or you want to run a webinar for a local, specifically if I want to do something in Serbia, for example. I don't speak a word of Serbian, but with this tool, they just copy my voice, they just recall my voice, make an avatar of me, and boom. And this is just crazy what we can actually achieve with some of these tools. So save a lot of time, save a lot of money. So I think it's it's great for smaller, I would say, for smaller companies, definitely.
Basically, we already live in the future.
We have one. We have one foot, only one. I mean, I think we will be surprised with what's ahead of us. But yeah, it's already crazy what you can do with AI. I'm just amazed, and it's like getting better and better every day. If you compare the version of ChatGPT, little by little, you have before, I would say, you can still notice when it's fully written by ChatGPT, but you have on top of that some apps that really do a really nice job, and you cannot even notice that it's written by AI. So yeah, that is I think that is very cool and fun, and actually super excited of this, because for us, for everybody, I would say, not only marketing people, but for everybody, this is going to be exciting. And I think people will it's going to be more and more crucial for people to master AI, to be kind of educated to how this is working, how to use it. Right now, it's actually a bit the Far West, right? It's a wild west. Nothing is regulated. I kind of expected at some point it's going to be some additional regulation. So right now is the good time if you want to expand your business, or if you want to like use as many tools as possible, because the regulations are not there yet.
Last question for today. What is the future of Nordic Marketeers Hub? What is your vision?
Good question. So I would say there are a couple of things. First, there is one thing is the constant growth in the number of members, because I really think that I don't have a specific number in my head, but I think more people will be in the community, so the more we will be able to share in terms of experience, in terms of tools, in terms of network. Here the number is the strength, right? So it's going to be extremely good to keep a steady growth in terms of members. Yeah, I mean, maybe gonna, if we manage to reach, I would say, a certain level, I would love that at some point there would be a number of members that is quite equal in the different Nordic countries. So meaning same number of members in Norway, in Denmark, in Finland, in Sweden. So we can actually start to like create also local events or gather the community also more locally, because we did one event in Oslo because this is where the founders are based. So, but we also hear from, other members, and there is this willingness behind, hey, we also want to organize events, in Helsinki, in Stockholm, or in Copenhagen. So this is also something that really would like, to happen. Hopefully end of the year, maybe beginning of next year. I think it's it's still young, but yeah, would really definitely would like to grow it kind of like this. And yeah, we'll see. Have a lot of ideas. I think it's maybe too early to talk about it. It's still fresh, but at least, yeah, having a really bigger community, and I would say the possibility for the members that can also physically meet up and network in their own region.
Amazing. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hopefully we'll be able to come to Finland soon, and Copenhagen, I hope.
Hope so too. It would be very nice to network with people face to face.
Yeah, and I think it's it's kind of one of the essence of the group, is not only obviously share experiences, best practices, but it's also like connect with people that might be good for yourself, for your business. So it's yeah, it's part of it's a big part of being a member of this community.
Great. Thank you so much, Amaury.
Thank you for inviting me. It was very nice to talk about marketing, something that I really cherish.